Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clay, and I am the Bucks believer. Well, guys, this one certainly was not pretty. The Bucks got their socks blown off by a Denver Nuggets team that defeated them by a final score of 128-97. That final score isn't super indicative of the game, as the Nuggets did close with an 11-0 run that did run up the end score by a little bit, but it certainly wasn't close either, as behind the strength of a effective zone defense, the Nuggets were able to build up a double-digit lead by the time the midway point of the second quarter rolled around, and they would never relinquish that lead, as they obviously came away with a pretty lopsided victory. That brings me to today's stat of the night, as the Bucks shot 11 for 40 from the three-point line, which translates to 27.5%. Now, with the Nuggets playing the zone defense that they obviously preferred in defending the Bucks, they were dared to shoot a lot of open three-pointers, and that brings me to the fact that these weren't really bad shots. It's not like the Bucks were settling for contested threes early in the shot clock or anything like that. They were mostly just taking what the defense gave them, and a lot of the times that ended up being open threes for so-so shooters like Dante DiVincenzo or Pat Connaughton or Drew Holiday or Bobby Portis. And in this game, those Bucks shooters simply could not convert from beyond the arc. I wish that the Bucks would have done a little bit more to get Giannis Antetokounmpo involved, as Giannis was very effective against that Nuggets defense. He set his season high for dunks in a game, as he had, I think, 8 or 9, and he did a really nice job of driving straight through the holes in the defense, as well as finding an opening from the weak side dunker spot where he was able to catch some lobs and finish. I wish the Bucks would have gone to him a little bit more, as he was super effective, finishing with 27 points on 10 for 15 shooting and 7 for 10 from the free throw line. That probably would have helped them out quite a bit had they tried to work the ball over to Giannis inside the paint instead of settling for all the three-pointers, but at the same time, I also cannot fault the Bucks shooters all that much, because a lot of the time they were really open shots. The other big problem in this game was the pick and roll defense. Denver is one of the best PNR teams in the entire league, with the combination of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic being absolutely lethal and downright impossible at times for opposing defenses to deal with. And that was certainly the case in this game. Murray got off to a really hot start, making his first 5 shots, and he finished the game with 24 points and 6 assists on 10 for 15 shooting. Jamal was easily able to get to his spots in the mid-range, as the Bucks' drop coverage scheme simply did not work in shutting him down, and he was very much able to go wherever he wanted on the court and was able to get a lot of open looks in his in-between game. Murray killed the Bucks defense and continued what has been an extremely hot streak for him so far this year, and after he put up just 11 points the first time these two played, the Nuggets certainly needed some more production from him in this one. However, Murray wasn't the guy who killed the Bucks the most by any stretch. That title would go to the one and only Nikola Jokic. Jokic has been the MVP in my mind so far this season, as he is first in basically every single advanced stat, and he has done an excellent job of keeping this Denver Nuggets team afloat as they have battled through injury after injury, whether it's to Gary Harris, Paul Millsap, JaMychal Green is out right now, Jamal Murray hasn't been 100%, MPJ missed some time. The Nuggets have continued to win, and that's in large part due to what the big man has done. In this one, that was no different, as Jokic put up another triple-double. I believe it was his 9th of the year, as he scored 37 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, and dished out 11 assists, and did so while scoring very efficiently from the field, as he was 15 for 23. Jokic was great both in the pick and roll, as well as just in face-up situations. A lot of the time, the Bucks defenders in the post were not necessarily doing a poor job of defending him. Yes, he was able to get some open looks, but that's going to happen throughout the course of a game. Most of the shots, however, that Jokic made were some really difficult step-back, fadeaway looks, and shots that, most human beings are incapable of making. Unfortunately, they ran into a player who has been pretty close to unstoppable so far this season, and Jokic was able to score at will against this Bucks team. I'm not super concerned about this fact because, you know, sometimes you run into an MVP caliber player, and that's really what happened tonight. Do I think that Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis are completely incapable of guarding fives in the playoffs? Not exactly. They both have their flaws. Lopez has a hard time keeping up with the more nimble, small ball style fives that we see in today's NBA more often, and Bobby Portis can be outmuscled at times by bigger post players like Jokic and Embiid. But for the most part, I think I have faith in our center rotation. The reason why Jokic went off tonight is because he's one of, if not the single, most skilled players in today's NBA, and I give him a load of credit for what he was able to do to this Bucks defense. Moving on back to the Bucks offensive side a little bit, Chris Middleton did a really nice job of scoring the basketball, as he had 20 points and 6 assists on 6 for 12 shooting and was 3 for 6 from the three-point line. It wasn't a terrific game from Chris whatsoever, but he certainly wasn't the issue with the Bucks offense, and he actually made some really high-level reads, including a couple nice feeds to Brook Lopez inside, a couple passes to Giannis cutting to the basket. He did his job. It was kind of the rest of the Bucks that really needed to step up their game. Jrue Holiday is still hot off of the health and safety protocols list, as this was just his second game back. He really was not good in this one, though, as he had 4 points on 2 for 6 shooting and turned the ball over 3 times. He did make some good defensive plays, and that's what you're going to get for Jrue, even as he comes back from his time that he missed. But the Bucks are going to need a lot more offensive production in order for them to beat teams like Denver, and that was apparent in tonight's game, where it just felt like they were missing a few offensive weapons, and 97 points certainly isn't pretty. So as Jrue Holiday gets worked back into the game a little bit more, I think that's really going to help the Bucks on both sides of the court, but especially on the offensive side, where they just seem to be lacking in offensive weaponry at the moment. That was proven by the struggles of some of the fringe players, the role-playing guys who usually give the Bucks good minutes, but simply were not able to capitalize on their open looks today. That can be said of Donte DiVincenzo, who was 0 for 5 from the field. Can be said of Bobby Portis, who didn't make his first field goal until late in the fourth quarter. Pat Connaughton was just 3 for 9 from the field. Bryn Forbes was just 3 for 8. These guys needed to do a little bit more than they did, as Jrue continued to struggle a little bit, but they just were not capable of doing so, and that's why the Bucks were only able to score 97 points. Torrey Craig did see a return to the rotation tonight, as I'm sure my good friend Matisha will be overjoyed to see, but I actually didn't think Torrey was very good in this game. He didn't have the defensive impact, and the Nuggets are generally not really a team that's a great matchup for him, as they don't have that big wing scorer that he is most capable of locking down and is most effective defending. And he was not good at all on the offensive end, as he had 0 points on over 3 shooting and missed both of his 3-pointers. His plus-minus was really bad. I think it was something like minus 20 in just 11 minutes of play, but most of that came during the garbage time, so you can throw that out a little bit. But it's safe to say that Torrey Craig's return to the rotation was a bit overwhelming, and I actually think that Thanasis could have helped the Bucks quite a bit in this game, as it felt like they were just a little lethargic. Perhaps they were resting on their laurels a little bit after they came away with their huge victory over the Los Angeles Clippers on Sunday, and they were just not playing at the same level in today's game. Thanasis always brings that energy, he always brings that intensity, and always plays hard. And I think that's something the Bucks could have used tonight in a game in which they overall just didn't play as hard as was needed for them to come away with a victory. Last thing I want to touch on here is P.J. Dozier. Dozier really was introduced to me during his time in the playoffs last year, during the bubble when the Nuggets made a run to the Western Conference Finals. Dozier made a few really huge plays in the Lakers series and the Clippers series, and played some significant minutes for the Nuggets in each of those 2 sets. He was a plus defender and did a nice job of defending some of the better players in the league as he spent time matched up on Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and LeBron James, but on offense he was pretty much a zero. That was certainly not true in tonight's game. I can't speak on the rest of the season, but Dozier seems to be much improved on that end, and he seems to be quite capable of hitting a jump shot when necessary. Today, he had 19 points on 8 for 17 shooting and was 2 for 5 from the three-point line. If Dozier is capable of hitting shots like this, I really think it helps the Nuggets out because it gives them yet another wing that they can insert into their rotation who can both play plus defense while being able to space the court out. Dozier's a guy that I like quite a bit, and he's someone that I would keep my eye on because I think that he can be a bit of a ceiling raiser for this Nuggets team if he's able to give them this kind of great minutes coming off the bench. Overall, this game was a giant letdown for the Bucks. After their biggest win of the season on Sunday off against the Clippers and coming into the game with a 5-game win streak, I had some high expectations, and I thought that there was a good chance that the Bucks could have a really nice game today against Denver. That simply did not happen, and they got outplayed in pretty much every facet of the game. Let me know what your thoughts were on this one in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. Bucks fans, I think that's going to be it for me. I will see you all again very soon.